Hey guys, and welcome to my page. Today we're starting a new series on productivity. Now I know a lot of channels do videos on productivity, but they often forget the actual purpose of being productive, which in my opinion is so you can spend the rest of your time doing things you actually enjoy and things that actually develop you so you can live a better, happier life. A lot of channels and productivity gurus promote workaholism, which I'm completely against because I've seen myself fall into this trap where I'm trying to work constantly, work day in and day out, and I really don't feel satisfied unless I'm just doing something productive. So even in my downtime when I'm watching TV or watching shows, in the back of my head there's this tiny voice that's like, shouldn't you be getting work done? Shouldn't you be studying? Shouldn't you be watching some course instead of this TV? And I never truly enjoy anything I'm doing. I actually started justifying playing tennis and thinking, you know what, I'm not making excuses when I play tennis because I'm being productive. And that type of mentality where you're trying to justify your life and justify even productive things is really toxic. When I'm going out and socializing, I'm thinking, oh, I'm being productive because I'm making connections, I'm making networks, or I'm easing up my mind so I can work better later. So I'm starting this series on really how to be productive while also living your life. And I'm starting the series off with episode 1, which is this video, and we're gonna talk about the 4 most common study techniques. And again, we wanna study efficiently so that we can spend the rest of our time doing things we enjoy and love. So the first strategy we're talking about is the Pomodoro method. Now the Pomodoro method starts off with a 25-minute work period, and then a 5-minute break, and then 25 minutes of working, and then a 5-minute break, and so on and so forth. So the idea here is that you work for a small enough time that you're not overly kind of in the mess and kind of just getting stressed out, but you're also not working too little. So you can get quite an amount of work done and then take a 5-minute break to get coffee or drink or use the bathroom or whatever, and take like a mini break in the middle and reward yourself, and then get back into it for 25 minutes. What I've noticed is that the 25 minutes is kind of like a cliffhanger where you're getting to your flow state right about the 25-minute mark, and you're cutting off your progress all the way up till there, right at the break time. You're kind of wasting all that energy that you put into getting into that flow state, that deep focus mindset. So what I've noticed is that the 45-15 minute method works a lot better for me, and it may work better for you, and let me tell you why. There's 2 distinct benefits here. One benefit is that you're working for 45 minutes, which means you can get into your flow state around 20 to 25 minutes in and continue working almost twice as long in that flow state. So if you're making 10% progress in your first 25 minutes, and then your flow state kicks in and you're making about 20% progress, then you're really exponentially growing how much work you're getting done, even though it's just almost twice as long as the original 25-minute time. When you work for 25 minutes and then cut off your progress and start again and work your way up and then cut yourself off again, I really think that people are missing out on a lot of productivity juice that they could kind of use during their flow state. The second benefit for the 45-15 minute Pomodoro technique is that the break is long enough to get things done. So if you're doing the 25 minutes, you can't really get much done in 5 minutes. And if you're kind of doing a task and then you have to drop it because the 5 minutes are over, then you're really gonna be thinking about that while you're studying, at least for the first few minutes. And then you're wasting that productivity and you're kind of just snowballing into your study period. So then once you're out for the next 5 minutes, you get that thing done and you don't have time to do anything else, and so you just get back into it. And I think the time just doesn't work out that well. So in the 25-5 method, you're really missing out on the full effects of the study period, and you're also kind of distracting yourself with too little time to get anything done. So the second productivity strategy is the deep work approach. Now this comes from the book by Cal Newport called Deep Work, and essentially the idea is that you want to set up a certain amount of time in your day where you lose all your distractions and focus completely. So I talked about this in the Pomodoro method, where the 25 minutes wasn't enough to get into your flow state, and that kind of comes from this deep work approach. Deep work applies to tasks with a lot of mental focus and things that require your attention, your creativity, your focus, and these tasks can be best done by segmenting them away from all your shallow work and distractions in your day. Now one thing I've noticed is that it's kind of hard to do deep work in today's day when constantly we're required on our phones, we have texts that need responding, we have emails, we have distractions online, and we're always working on our computers, so that makes it exponentially hard to be focused. So on my iPhone, I have a focus mode called Deep Work, and essentially that blocks any calls, any texts, or any notifications from getting through. Now when I do this in the middle of the day, I get worried often because I'm like, maybe I have some notifications that I don't even know about. So to combat this, I started doing my deep work earlier in the morning so no one's awake and I don't feel like, okay, someone's gonna message me, someone's gonna need me. So what I'd like to propose is a 1-hour study session, 1 hour before you normally wake up. So this has quite a few benefits where 1, you're waking up before others, so you're automatically gonna have less distractions. 2, try to not use your computer or try to turn off distractions in whatever way you can. I know there are a couple of applications that block certain websites, so you can do it so certain time periods don't have those distractions. So guys, before we go to the third step, I'd like to remind you to like and subscribe if you learned anything from this video so far, or if anything has been helpful. Now I will say that there's going to be a ton more videos on productivity, so if you want to stick around, stay tuned. So the third productivity strategy is called the 5-minute rule. Now I really love this strategy because it really makes it easy to get into a task without overwhelming yourself with, 30 minutes of work or an hour of work. So essentially the way I do this is I tell myself that no matter what task I've been putting off, I'm only going to work on it for 5 minutes a day, at the very least. So what this does is it pushes me to start my task, get into the groove, and decide, you know what, it's not that bad, let me just keep going. So for example, let's say I have an essay due in like a week. So I start working on that and I think, this thing sucks, I don't want to do it. And then I start putting it off day by day, and then the next thing you know, it's the day before the due date, and then I'm totally screwed. So now what I do is I work 5 minutes at least on that assignment every single day. And if I want to continue, I will continue, and then I can get it done much earlier in the week. The main reason I procrastinate is because the task seems so daunting that I don't want to even look at it. And so I just keep pushing it off until I have no choice but to look at it. So that's where the 5-minute rule comes in, where I say, you know what, I'm gonna work on this for 5 minutes, any given day, any day, every day, and I'm gonna get this thing done. So let's say the essay takes like an hour to do. Now, if I work 5 minutes on it, I might think to myself, hey, I already did like, I don't know, almost 10%. So might as well keep going. And the next thing you know, I do like 30% in the first sitting. And then I do that 2 more times and I'm done. And not only that, I'll be done earlier than I would have if I just kept procrastinating. The work would have been much better, and I probably would have enjoyed it much more because I'm not doing it out of pressure in the last moment. In my mind, I'm always thinking that the essay or the project is always going to be worse than I imagined. This video, for example, I said, you know what, I'm just going to do it for 5 minutes. And that's unreasonable because it takes 5 minutes to set up your camera, your lighting, and then you're like, you know what, I'm here, so might as well just do it. So that might as well logic is the point of the 5-minute rule, because you're already doing it, so might as well continue and get 10 minutes done or 20 minutes done. And just like that, you'll go into a groove of working on that task you've been putting off. Now the last productivity tactic is deadlining and Parkinson's law. Now I mention these together because they really do work hand in hand. Now the Parkinson's law states that basically the amount of time you give yourself to do the work will be the time that it takes to do the work. Now notice, if I give myself 5 hours to do a 1-hour task, it's still gonna take me 5 hours to do it just because I gave myself a little leeway to kind of slack off through the day and still feel productive, which is kind of funny. So even though we feel productive, we're really wasting our time and taking away from the quality time of no stress by doing this. So imagine you're spending 5 hours doing a 1-hour task. You'll spend that 1 hour and spread it out and feel guilty throughout it while you're procrastinating, and you'll feel like, oh, I'm not doing any work. So you're getting 5 hours of kind of like semi-torture, and you're also getting the work done in the same amount of time it would have taken anyways. So isn't it better to set a 1-hour timeline and get it done in a 1-hour timeline and then spend 4 hours guilt-free? So that's why I brought the deadlining principle into the Parkinson's law. Because if you're creating realistic deadlines and setting like the right amount of pressure, you're gonna get the work done early and you're gonna have a lot of time afterwards to just enjoy yourself like without any guilt. So one final tip I'd like to leave you with is to try each of these one at a time and see what works for you. I've noticed that I like to just listen to 10, 20 different strategies, but I don't really apply them purely in my life. So if you try this, I can almost guarantee that you're gonna feel some type of success with these, and I do want you to try it out. So guys, my goal here again is to create a productive system for you guys so you can really expand on the rest of your life and spend more time doing what you love. And I'm gonna be creating a series out of this where I'm going into each of these strategies in depth and figuring out what truly works for you, what's gonna work for me, and what research shows about these so that you can really effectively spend your time and do what you love. And that's the whole point. And speaking of life-changing productivity hacks, check out these 2 videos I made right here, and I'll see you there.